Good News for Kids and Stick Figure Theater present Jesus' Wild Ride, also known as Life Has Its Ups and Downs. Our story comes from the Gospel of John, and it stars Jesus. That's him with the glowy lines right there. It takes place in the house of his friend Lazarus, and it also features Mary. That's her with the hair. While there are other people mentioned in the story, these two are the main characters. Mary has a jar of really expensive perfume, and she decides to wash or anoint Jesus' feet. The perfume was so fancy that it filled the house with its beautiful smell. That's all the purple lines. Some of the other people who were there scolded Mary for her generosity and for spending a lot of money on perfume. Jesus didn't do that. Instead, he receives Mary's gift with grace. His words and actions seem to say, "It's good for us to be here. Let's enjoy this moment." The story comes at an interesting point in Jesus' life. He's already had one wild ride, and there are more unknowns just around the corner. Real quickly now, Jesus started his life out on a high point. Sure, there were sheep and other animals there when he was born, but there were shepherds and wise men and angels too. How joyful! His wild ride began right after that when little Jesus and his mom and dad had to escape to a different country for their own safety. That must have been pretty scary. When things were okay again, Jesus and his family returned home, and we have some stories of him as a young boy teaching grown-ups about God and God's Word. That's pretty cool. Like they are for a lot of people, Jesus' teenage years are something of a mystery, and we lose sight of him for a little bit. But when we do find him again on the other side, he's a young man, and he's being baptized by John the Baptist. The sky opens up, a dove appears, and the voice of God says, "This is my son. With him I'm well pleased." Talk about another high point. Things come crashing down again, however, when Jesus is praying alone in the desert and is tempted by one thing after another. From that low, he climbs up and has one mountaintop experience after another. He teaches, he performs miracles, he has 12 disciples and a whole ton of followers, and one amazing thing happens after another. And then, tragedy. His friend Lazarus dies. Lazarus' sisters, Mary and Martha, are sad. Jesus cries too. And then, joy! Jesus brings Lazarus back to life. The whole experience, you could say, really threw Jesus for a loop. And then his wild ride comes rocketing into the quiet story that we read today. In a small house, with Mary, some others, and the sweet smell of perfume. When you look at Jesus' life put together like this, it looks kind of like a roller coaster, doesn't it? With all kinds of ups and downs and twists and turns and unknown things along the way. It also goes by pretty fast. Does your life ever feel that way? With ups and downs and unknowns too? Well, maybe today's story can be a reminder that there are those sweet spots in life as well. Times that feel warm and cozy and maybe smell just right. It's good for us to be there too. And that can be good news, especially when we don't know exactly what's coming next. The end.